foreseen. Heroes assemble with hearts so bold. In cryptic duels, their legends told. From sunken scrolls to drunken lore, they clash in tournaments and so much more. Where seal and spell and union combined, their saga echoes like ancient wine.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Hey.
So today, we are going to do a deep dive on some pretty big news coming out of DeFi Kingdoms.
Yeah, big news.
They have an upcoming hero burn mechanic.
Oh, yeah?
And a new thing called the hero score.
That's right.
So this is pretty important if you're a player.
Yeah, if you're playing DeFi Kingdoms, you know, your heroes are kind of your core assets, right?
Right.
And this burn mechanic is essentially going to let you exchange heroes for DE and GDE.
Yeah.
Divine Essence and Greater Divine Essence.
Okay, so you're going to be able to just like cash in your heroes? Is that basically what we're talking about?
Pretty much.
For this new in-game currency.
Yeah, and the hero score is kind of the magic number that tells you how much you get of each.
Gotcha. Okay, so if our listeners are like me, they're probably thinking, okay, this sounds kind of complicated.
Yeah, it can be.
And we're going to break it all down for you. So think of this as like the express lane. We're going to give you all the cheat codes, all the info.
That's right. We're gonna break it down.
That you need to know.
Make it easy.
So huge credit to Sycoland, right?
Yes, absolutely.
For cracking this code and doing all this research.
Yeah, huge thanks to Sycoland.
He's done a lot of the heavy lifting, and we're going to basically take all that information that he's gathered and break it down.
That's right. We're gonna distill it
for you
down to the core.
All right. So starting from the top, what is this hero score?
Right. So what's really cool is that the hero score takes all those individual hero qualities.
Okay.
And it distills them down to one single, easy to grasp metric.
Okay.
Instead of having to think about main class and subclass and rarity and level and summons.
You're not thinking about all these things separately.
You're going to think about them separately.
It just kind of blends them.
It blends them all together in one.
Okay, so it kind of takes all that and just gives you a single number to know, okay, this is how much it's worth.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes, exactly.
Certainly,
It really gives you a clear picture of a hero's burn value.
Okay.
In terms of DE and GDE.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. This hero score, this is what?
That's the hero score.
This is the magic number.
That's the one number.
Okay, so how do we arrive at this magic number?
Right, so simply put, the hero score is a single numerical value.
Okay.
And this value is calculated based on 5 key traits of your hero.
Okay.
Its main class, its subclass, its rarity, its current level, and the number of remaining summons it has.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got those 5 things.
Right.
Main class, subclass, rarity level, and number of summons.
Yes.
And it takes all that.
And it boils it all down into one number.
Okay.
And the real power of it, like we've been hinting at, is that this single score directly indicates the amount of DE, and more importantly, GDE, that you can expect to receive when you burn that hero.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it really simplifies your decision-making.
So it's a much easier way
It really is.
than like having to calculate all those 5 things separately?
Yeah. It's a shortcut.
It's a nice little shortcut.
Exactly. Yeah, it really simplifies. It allows you to directly compare different heroes that you might be considering parting with.
Okay, great. So how is the score calculated?
Okay.
Can you give us just like a high-level overview
Absolutely.
of the formula?
Okay, so the formula...
So like we don't need to get into like calculus or anything.
No, we don't need all the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah.
But essentially, it has 2 main components
Okay.
that are then multiplied together.
Okay.
The first part factors in the hero's class information, so both the main class and subclass,
Okay.
along with its rarity. And then the second part takes into account the hero's current level and number of remaining summons.
Okay, so we've got class and rarity together.
Class and rarity.
And then level and summon.
Level and summons, exactly.
Okay.
Now, within that formula, there's a few factors at play.
Okay.
There's a base weight assigned to the main class. We can call that A.
Okay.
Another base weight, B for the subclass.
Okay.
And then C for the rarity.
Gotcha.
And then there's specific numerical values, D and E,
Okay.
that are linked to the different tiers within the main and subclasses.
Okay.
F is simply the number of summons remaining. G is the current level, and H is a level score,
Okay.
which the game assigns based on your hero's level bracket, which further influences the overall hero score.
Okay, so it's taking all of those things
Just taking all of that
and tying
and
it in,
blending it all together.
giving different weights.
Right, different weights,
It's a different aspect.
different levels of importance to each of those factors.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think of those base weights kind of like the inherent power level assigned to each of those core traits.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at all of these different aspects of a hero,
Yeah,
it feels like they wouldn't all be weighted equally.
you're exactly right.
Would they?
Not all traits are created equal.
Okay.
And here's where it gets interesting for you as a player.
Right.
Sycoland's research indicates that the main class and the rarity of a hero are the overwhelmingly dominant factors.
Interesting.
In fact, these two characteristics together account for roughly 90%
Wow.
of a hero's total potential GDE value.
90%.
90%, that's huge.
It's huge. Okay, so if you're looking to maximize the GDE that you're getting
Yeah.
out of this burn, you really need to be focusing on those two things.
Those are the two big ones.
Main class.
Main class
Rarity.
and rarity. Those are the ones to prioritize.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously those other things do contribute in some way.
Yeah, they do contribute to a lesser extent in the overall GDE calculation.
Okay.
For instance, the number of summons remaining can give you a noticeable bump, especially in the early game
Okay.
level. And subclass, on the other hand, tend to become more significant for long-term growth and sustained GDE yield,
Okay.
particularly as your heroes advance to higher levels.
So those are more kind of long-term plays.
Yes, they're more like a long-term play.
Whereas the summons are like, I need a quick boost right now.
Exactly.
I get that with a few.
That's your quick win.
Quick win.
That's right.
Okay. So let's dive into each of these individually
Yeah, sounds good.
and kind of talk about the numbers behind it.
Yeah, let's break it down.
So starting with main class.
Right.
We know that's
The big one.
the big one.
The main class of a hero is really the bedrock of its power.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, a major contributor to its GDE potential,
Okay.
generally making up around 60 to 70% of it.
Okay.
The GDE multipliers differ dramatically
Wow.
based on the main class tier.
Okay.
A basic main class has a multiplier of just 1x.
Okay, so that's like the baseline.
That's the baseline. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you step up to advanced, that jumps to 16x.
Okay.
Elite is 48x.
Okay.
Transcendent is 134x. And finally, Exalted hits a massive 400x multiplier compared to that basic baseline.
400 times.
400.
Okay, so if you have an exalted versus a basic,
Yeah,
you're talking about a 400x
that's the power of the multiplier.
increase in
Right.
GDE.
Yeah, in terms of actual GDE.
Yeah.
A hero with a basic main class might yield around 0.027 GDE in its most basic form,
Okay.
whereas a fully developed Exalted hero has the potential to reach around 46 GDE.
So that's like
That's huge.
a crazy
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
difference.
Yeah, over 1,700% difference.
Wow. Okay, so
And it's also crucial to realize that the value of the main class really takes off when you combine it with a higher rarity.
okay, so these things are
They work together.
kind of working together.
They do.
So you're not just getting the benefit of one.
Yeah.
You're getting the benefit of both.
It's like a multiplier effect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So if you're listening at home,
Right.
big takeaway.
Yeah.
Get that exalted.
Get Exalted
main class.
if you want that GDE.
Yeah, that seems to be the
That's where it's at.
key here.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving on to rarity.
Okay.
We know this is the other big one.
Yes.
Makes up about 20 to 30% of the GDE.
That's right.
So can you just walk us through the different rarity levels and
Sure.
what they mean?
So the rarity tiers range from common,
Okay.
which has a multiplier of 1x, to uncommon at 8x rare, at 21x legendary at 54x,
Yeah.
and the top tier mythic at 108x.
Okay. So kind of similar to main class there.
Yeah.
We've got this kind of tiered system.
Yeah, it's tiered, and it goes up exponentially.
And what's really interesting to note here is that the most substantial increase in multiplier actually happens right at the beginning,
Interesting.
going from common to uncommon.
Okay.
So even acquiring uncommon heroes can provide a significant early boost to your potential GDE.
Okay, so even just going from common to uncommon,
Yes.
there's a big jump there
Yeah, there's a big jump.
in terms of what you're going to get.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. An uncommon hero right off the bat can potentially yield around 0.16 GDE in its base form.
And when you then pair that highest mythic rarity with that top tier exalted main class,
Oh, yeah.
that's where you can really hit those impressive GDE figures.
That's the dream team.
That's the dream team.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
potentially reaching that 46 GDE we mentioned earlier.
So I think you're painting a picture here.
Yeah, we're starting to see how these things work together.
Okay.
And rarity also works incredibly well with main class.
Okay.
A mythic rarity hero with an exalted main class is significantly more valuable for burning than a basic main class hero of the same mythic rarity.
Gotcha. So it's not just like, okay, Mythic
Yeah.
is great across the board.
It is great across the board,
It's
but it's really,
pairing it.
it really shines when you pair it with that exalted main class.
Okay.
Yeah.
So early strategy grabs some uncommons.
Yeah, try and snag those uncommons
Yeah.
for a quick increase in potential GDE.
Yeah. And then long term,
But the ultimate goal,
you want that Mythic exalted
mythic exalted. That's the dream team.
combo.
That's right.
Okay. So moving on to subclass.
Okay.
We know this is a smaller
Yeah, it's a smaller contributor,
contributor to the overall GDE.
around 5 to 10%, but it's still a factor you should consider,
Okay.
particularly as your heroes become more developed.
Okay, so this is less about like the initial value and more about like, okay, if I'm really trying to maximize this thing.
Exactly.
Late game. It's a late game consideration.
This is where I need to be focusing.
That's right.
Okay. So what are the multipliers looking like for a subclass?
Okay, so the subclass multipliers start at 1x for basic, then move to 1.4x for advanced 3x for elite 14x for transcendent, and finally 41x for exalted.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're seeing kind of that similar thing.
Yeah, it's a similar pattern.
Are those initial?
Yeah, the initial growth is quite modest compared to main class and rarity, but it really starts to take off in those higher tiers.
Okay.
So it seems like subclass maybe isn't something to worry about too much early on.
Not early on.
But later on, this is where
Later in the game, this is where it can really make a difference.
it could really boost things.
Yeah. Think of it as a potential bonus multiplier that becomes more significant for your already powerful heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you've got a
Right.
really awesome hero
If you've already got a top tier hero,
and you're trying to get the most out of it,
yeah,
subclass is where you want to be looking.
that's where you want to focus your efforts.
Okay, cool.
While a basic subclass adds very little to the initial GDE, an exalted subclass can actually double the GDE potential of a top tier hero in the late game.
Okay, so it literally can double
It can double.
what you're getting.
Yeah, for example, it can be the difference between an exalted hero yielding, say, 23 GDE and reaching that maximum of 46 GDE.
Gotcha.
So while it might not be your primary focus early on upgrading, your subclass can become very impactful on your already strong heroes in the later stages of the game.
Okay, so
Yeah.
definitely something to think about
Yes.
down the line.
Down the line.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Current level.
All right, current level.
How does that factor into the equation?
So current level provides a more gradual increase in GDE over time,
Okay.
contributing roughly 5 to 10% to the total.
Okay.
The multiplier ranges from 1x at level 1 to about 1.7x at level 20.
Okay.
So,
Fran.
yeah, you'll see that impact become more noticeable as your heroes reach those higher levels.
So again, we're seeing that kind of exponential growth.
Yeah, it's a steady climb rather than a sudden jump.
Okay, so it's not like
Bergie.
right away you're getting a huge...
It's not like summons where you get a big boost right away.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so it's more just like slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Wins the race.
Yeah, for instance, taking a basic main class hero from level 1 to 20 might only add a small amount of GDE, say from 0.027 to around 0.05.
Okay.
However, when you look at a higher tier hero, like one with an elite main class, that same leveling process could increase the GDE from around 7 to 10.
Okay.
And for an exalted hero reaching level 20 can boost its GDE from roughly 19 all the way to that potential maximum of 46.
Okay, so again,
Yes.
we're
So
seeing
it
a
is
highlight
powerful.
of those high-level
Tier-
heroes.
tiers.
Yeah, those higher-tier heroes.
Okay.
What's really key here is how leveling multiplies the value you're already getting from a strong main class. And rarity, in fact, at max level, it can essentially double the GDE of an exalted hero.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you've got that exalted hero
Right.
and you level it all the way up,
You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that maximum GDE.
you're going to be rolling it.
We're gonna be swimming in GDE.
Okay. So the takeaway here, it sounds like, is
The takeaway here is that level up your best heroes.
prioritize leveling your high potential heroes,
Yeah.
those with exalted main class and mythic rarity,
Exactly.
for significant long-term GDE returns when you eventually burn them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't waste your time
Exactly. Right.
leveling up heroes that you're...
Don't waste your resources.
Not really.
Focus on those top-tier heroes.
Yeah, focus on your best ones.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So finally, remaining summons.
Remaining summons.
We've heard that this gives an early boost.
Yeah, it offers a different kind of advantage.
Okay.
Yeah, remaining summons provides a quicker increase in GDE,
Okay.
especially in the early stages of a hero's life.
Okay.
It can contribute around 5 to 10% the initial GDE value.
Okay.
The multiplier ranges from 1x for a hero with 0 summons left
Okay.
to a maximum of 6x for a hero with the full 10 summons available.
Okay. So the more summons you have,
Right.
obviously the higher that's going to be.
The higher that multiplier is going to be. You'll observe that the impact is more pronounced with those initial summons used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So using those early summons.
Yeah. For example, a basic main class hero with 10 summons might yield around 0.16 GDE compared to just 0.027 with no summons left.
Okay.
Similarly, an elite hero could go from around 5.4 GDE to 7.6 GDE with all its summons available.
Okay. So it's definitely making a difference.
It is.
It is.
It's a noticeable
Some
difference.
difference there.
However, it's important to understand that the benefit from remaining summons tends to decrease in the later stages of the game
Okay.
compared to the scaling you see with level and subclass.
Okay.
So while it's a valuable early boost, its relative impact lessens as the hero's other core traits become more developed.
Okay. So basically, if you've got a hero that you're thinking,
Right.
you know, I'm going to burn this hero.
If you're thinking long term
Yeah.
and you're going to level it up and all that,
You might want to use those summons.
you want to use those summons
Of
early to really capitalize on that boost.
Yeah. You
Get that quick.
get that initial boost.
Yeah, because as you level up the hero and as those other traits become more prominent,
Yeah.
the impact of the summons kind of fades away.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of looked at each of these traits
We've gone through all the traits
individually, but it's also important
Now it's time
to
to
look at
put it all together.
how they work together.
Yes, see how they all interact.
Right.
Those key synergies that we talked about earlier.
Okay, so it's not just about
It's not just about the individual numbers.
the individual numbers.
It's about how they amplify each other to create a higher overall burn value.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and we know that main class and rarity are the heavy hitters making up that 90% of the GDE potential.
Those are the foundations.
That's the foundation.
Yeah.
If we look at how GDE potential progresses through different phases of the game, these synergies become clear. In the early game, rarity and summons tend to be the most influential for getting those initial increases in potential GDE.
Okay.
As you progress into the mid-game, main class and rarity really take over as the primary drivers of value.
Okay.
Then, in the late game especially, with well-developed heroes boasting exalted main class and mythic rarity,
Yeah.
the level and subclass become increasingly significant, further boosting that already high GDE potential.
So it's like different
It's like a tiered
tiers of things to focus.
a tiered system of importance,
Yeah.
with different traits taking the lead at different points in a hero's lifespan,
Yeah.
and your own progression as a player.
Yeah. You might start off focusing on one thing, and then as you progress,
Exactly.
kind of shift your focus.
Yeah, your focus shifts to different things as you level up your heroes and as you kind of advance in the game.
Cool.
And you can see this overall climb in GDE potential, starting from a basic hero all the way up to a fully leveled, exalted hero, representing a substantial increase in potential returns.
So really, it's just about,
It's about
understanding
the different stages
Yeah, right.
and how those traits interact.
Okay, so let's talk practical takeaways.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks.
Based on what we've learned today.
Right. Based on all this information about the trait weightings and how they all work together, what are the key strategies you should be thinking about?
Okay.
Yeah.
So number one, it sounds like
Yeah.
focus on getting those exalted and mythic heroes.
Absolutely. That's the number one takeaway.
Yeah.
You want to try to acquire heroes with that top tier exalted main class.
Yeah.
And the highest rarity you can get, ideally mythic.
Yeah.
The exponential GDE gains those traits unlock are just too significant to overlook.
That's the bread and butter.
That's the bread and butter. Even
Bread and butter.
if other stats aren't perfect initially, those provide the best long-term burn potential.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Number two,
All right, number 2.
utilize your summons early.
Use your summons early, particularly on lower tier heroes.
Mhm.
This allows you to capture some quick GDE value before the impact of those summons starts to decrease as the hero levels up.
Okay, so if you're not really planning on keeping the hero,
Right.
use those summons early.
Yeah, don't be afraid to use them.
Get that value.
Get that value early.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 3.
Number 3, prioritize leveling up your top heroes.
Yeah.
We've seen how current level can significantly increase the GDE of exalted and mythic heroes in the long run, potentially doubling their value at max level.
So this is kind of the
This is the opposite of the summons.
of the summons.
Where you want to use those early, you want to save the level ups for your best heroes.
Yeah.
That sustained long-term GDE yield from leveled up top-tier heroes is crucial.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Finally, it's
yeah.
important to remember that while subclass might not be the biggest factor in the beginning, its upgrades become most impactful in the late game.
Particularly when applied to those already powerful elite or exalted heroes, potentially doubling their final GDE returns.
Okay, so we're kind of seeing that theme over and over.
Yeah, you're seeing a theme here.
Early game.
Yeah, early game. You're focused on those quick wins.
Yeah.
Later in the game.
Late game.
You're playing the long game.
Playing the long.
You're thinking about those long-term returns.
Yeah. Okay.
Think of it as a long-term investment in your strongest assets.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Yeah. So it's kind of a step-by-step strategy.
yeah, so it's like first,
Aim for the best main class and rarity.
Yeah.
Then utilize summons early.
Yep.
Prioritize leveling your top heroes, and finally consider the subclass for that endgame boost on your best performers.
okay, so those are kind of the 4.
The 4 pillars
Fair
of your GDE strategy.
Yeah.
That's a concise and very effective way to summarize the key strategies based on the insights from the hero score system.
Cool. So as we wrap up this deep dive.
On the hero burn mechanic and the hero score,
Right.
what is the main thing?
Yeah, what should people take away from all this?
Okay.
Okay, so the main thing to remember is that the hero score is really going to act as the central yardstick for measuring a hero's potential when it comes to burning for DE and GDE.
Okay.
It takes what could have been a really complicated system of individual traits and distills it down to a single, relatively easy to understand number that you can use to make informed decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's basically
like
simplifying things.
Making it easy for you.
Simplifying everything.
That's right.
And thanks again to Sycoland.
Big shout out to Sycoland for
Very
doing all the
cool.
research,
Yeah.
cracking the code.
So if you're listening to this,
If you're listening to this,
you can use this information to...
yeah, and by understanding the weightings of these different hero traits and those crucial synergies between them, you, our listener, will be empowered to make much smarter choices. No more just guessing about which heroes to burn. You'll have the knowledge to optimize your strategies for earning both Divine Essence and that highly valuable greater Divine Essence.
Yeah, make informed decisions.
Exactly.
And get the most.
Bang for your buck.
Oh, that's right.
Out of these heroes.
And having this understanding will be absolutely vital as the hero burn mechanic is rolled out and becomes a key part of the DeFi Kingdoms economy.
Yeah, this is going to be huge.
This is going to be big, yeah.
So just a final thought
Go.
for everyone listening.
Yeah.
How is this hero score going to reshape the...
That's a good question. How will the introduction of this hero score ultimately reshape the dynamics of the entire DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem?
Yeah, how...
Pray will be break from souls for the sundered isles, our fates foreseen. Heroes assemble with hearts so bold, in cryptic duels their legends told. From sunken scrolls to drunken lore, they clash in tournaments and so much more. Where steel and spell in union combine, their saga echoes like ancient wild. Brave souls of crypto light, in taverns and arenas through day and night. Drunken monk laughs while Sable casts the call. Heroes of the blockchain rise and stand tall. Brave souls of crypto light, in taverns and arenas through day and night. Drunken monk laughs while Sable casts the call. Heroes of the blockchain rise and stand tall. clashes and midnight duels. Every champion sharpens ancient rules. Vex, Ibla, and Just in the fray forge victory in their daring display. From gold rush fervor to skirmish fights, blockchain valor ignites the nights. With every win and every noble loss, their epic tales carve asunder cross. Hail, hail, brave souls of crypto light, in taverns and arenas through day and night. Drunken monk laughs while Sable casts the call. Heroes of the blockchain rise and stand tall. Legends echo in every silent hall, as blockchain dreams rise and never fall.